Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, Brothers in Arms, World of Warships, and today's video we're going to take a look at a replay that I had in the Chapayev, the Tier 8 Soviet light cruiser. I'm divisioned up with my buddies from APOC, Ryuo and Siron. They're playing in the Shokaku and Edinburgh, the Tier 8 Japanese carrier and British light cruiser respectively, and we're playing some domination here on the map Neighbors. For my captain skills, I have Priority Target, Adrenaline Rush, Superintendent, Inertia Fused High Explosive, and Concealment Expert. And for my equipment, I have Main Armaments Mod 1, AA Guns Mod 2, Propulsion Mod 3, Steering Gears Mod 2, and Concealment Systems Modification 1. So, a lot of other people on YouTube, World of Warships wise of course, have done videos on IFHE. You can also find plenty of forum posts about it on both Reddit and the actual World of Warships forums. However, we actually have not done an IFHE vid, and it's been some time since the captain skill changes, and to be honest with you, I really don't have IFHE on anything else except for the Chapayev and Mikhail Kutuzov captain that I just put IFHE on. Going through the Season 4 of Supremacy League, I never really got too big of damage totals, and to be honest with you, when you're playing competitive World of Warships, it's really not at all about the amount of damage that you do. Obviously, you have to kill stuff, but I had Demolition Expert on my guy, and to be honest with you, there were some times where I just didn't feel like I was doing the damage that I potentially could have, and you know, you don't get too often to have sustained fire on a target, and I just thought, well, whenever I do have the opportunity, I want to maximize it as much as I can. And IFHE really is for those people that not only know the armor values and the armor, layouts and whatnot of the ships they're shooting at, but you also have to be a really good shot to take advantage or to take full advantage of this skill. I'm going to give you the skinny because you can go on other websites and other YouTube videos and find way more detailed videos and posts about how it works. Basically speaking, the Chapayev and the Kutuzov at Tier 8 have 152mm guns. They get a 30% boost to their high explosive penetration at the expense of losing 2% of the fire chance. So what it means in practice is that you're not going to be lighting as many fires, but you're going to get significantly more high explosive damage. And the reason why is it revolves all around the armor that you were shooting at. As you can see there on that Bismarck, that first salvo landed 4,300 hit points of damage done. So all battleships at Tier 8 and above have bows and stern plating that is 32mm thick. If you run IFHE on guns that are 152mm around that in caliber, you can get 32 to 33mm of penetration. So what it means, of course, is that those battleships simply cannot angle away or towards you. It does not matter. If you know where to land the shells, you're going to be doing consistent damage, and that's the whole thing about IFHE. Do you want to trade fires for solid and consistent high explosive damage? Now, again, for me, when I started playing this game, I was in the camp of the fire chance, and even with IFHE, I'd always been in the camp of get that fire chance as high as possible. But when RNG decides to tell you to go fuck off, to put it lightly, well, there's really nothing you can do about it, and it's very frustrating to have to deal with. So putting IFHE on this guy allows you to go through pretty much the majority of the places on all of the battleships that you're going to come at. And then, of course, against destroyers and cruisers, they have no chance in hell in angling against you. And you're going to see that with the rolls that I have here on some of the ships that I'm shooting at. But one important thing to take note of is to look at exactly where I am shooting, because it does take a keen eye and knowledge to be able to get consistently good games in this thing. And all of the cruisers that benefit from it, specifically all of the light cruisers that shoot 152mm guns and that they shoot HE. So obviously not a British light cruiser except for Belfast and the Commonwealth of Perth. And yeah, you're going to be able to do significant amounts of damage, and it's very, very satisfying to be able to do so. So at this point, the Alabama manages to take out the Z-23, and we're going to get Objective Charlie up here. So now I'm going to switch my fire here towards this enemy Bismarck. Now, for the Bismarck specifically, 32mm of bow and stern armored plating. It also has, in most places, 32mm of deck armor as well. So what this means is that watching these shells come flying in on the bow, I manage 4 pens for about 3,000 points of damage, whereas if I didn't have IFHE, shooting at the bow and the stern is pretty much a no-go unless you feel like breaking all of your shells and doing 0 points of damage. But you can see here where I'm hitting, not just at the bow either. If you manage to hit the AA mounts and the secondary mounts and the superstructure, right along the middle part of the ship, well above the belt armor. You're also going to be able to do a significant amount of damage as well. And right there, when RNG does throw you them bones, you're going to still be able to light fires, as this thing has an 11 to 12% fire chance. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's decent enough, especially considering you have 12 of these guns, and you only have an 8-second reload. And of course, with Adrenaline Rush, that will significantly go down as you take damage over time. So you can see why a lot of people get so hot to trot, so to speak, about IFHE. And honestly, my statistics in the Chapayev have seen a noticeable, quantifiable improvement. I was already averaging about 107,000 points of damage in this thing before I switched to IFHE, and I played about 5 games over the weekend in it, and my average damage actually went up, and I'd already played like 40 games in this thing, so I was having some monster games like the ones, like the one you're going to see here. You notice right there where those shells landed right at the rear of the ship. Some of them did hit the side belt armor and of course would not penetrate, but one of them either penetrated through the deck or the rear of the ship, and I managed to take out the Bismarck, securing my first kill of the game. I already have an assisted base cap and 46,000 points of damage done. So you saw right there a pretty good usage, I should say, of the IFHE. And again, as I'm going to move down here towards Objective Bravo, there's going to be plenty more of that. Now, I did pop my defensive AA for those bombers and torpedo planes. Unfortunately, I was not able to save my buddy in the turrets over there from death from the enemy Lexington. However, the Lex is spotted and is moving over towards Objective Alpha. However, I am certainly on an intercept course, so if he does get spotted yet again, I will be able to get shots into him. You can also see my buddy Saran is moving down into Bravo as well. And yeah, things are looking pretty good. The enemy team is getting hoarded down in towards Objective Alpha, and all we got to do is start dealing damage and getting these kills, and this game will be over rather quickly. So once again, yeah, shooting at the bow and the stern of enemy battleships, the plating, you're just going to be able to penetrate. It's simple as that. And going against lower tier battleships that only have 25 millimeters of deck armor, 25 millimeters of plating, 25 millimeters of bow and stern armor, you just absolutely obliterate them. And you're going to see here with this New Mexico, he literally, there is nothing that he can do to get away from me, because obviously I'm faster than him, and I'm just going to rain down hell on his position. And he's going to continue to burn and take a lot of damage. And you can see most of the shells that hit are legit penetrations right there. About 5,000 points of damage done. With that last salvo, I'm sitting yet another fire. And now I'm going to switch my focus to the enemy Lexington. And another 5K salvo there on the New Mexico with a further 9 shells out of 12 that managed to penetrate somewhere on his ship. Absolutely amazing stuff. Get 9 hits on the Lexington and start a fire. You can see here RNG is being very, very nice to me. More shells flying in. I'm just continuing to shoot at the carrier, and then I'm going to switch back. And I'm just trying to get everything burning all at once and get that damage counter. You can see at the top right going up pretty considerably. 6,000 damage on the Lex right there with 10 of 12 shells hit. Like I said, if you're a really good aim, you're going to just be able to annihilate anything that comes underneath the range of your guns. I do switch back to the armor piercing for one salvo, but I realized that I've been doing so good damage with the HE as I get a pretty respectable 3,200 damage there that there's no reason for me to shoot AP, so I am going to continue to spam the high explosive. And that's the one thing, the Chapayev and the Kutuzov they do get really good armor-piercing shells. Obviously, I'm sure you've heard the joke of Stellinium, but when you have high explosive performance such as this, well, you really don't need to use it all that much, unless, of course, you're at close range, and you're guaranteed to get some citadels. More shells going in at the Lexington. He is definitely going to die. It's just a question of who is going to get the kill. Probably me, though, because these shells just continue to rain in and deal the damage. I shoot one more salvo at the Lex as I shoot now at the New Mexico, and there we go. 4 more shells hit, and I get my second kill of the game, up to 108,000 points of damage. Now I take a pot shot here at the Benson, who's turning to the right. The shells fall in on the New Mexico, and I still manage almost 4K with another fire set. This Hipper's on 2,300 hit points. Armor piercing would probably be a much better choice right here, but hey, when you got HE that does that, well, it doesn't really matter. I pick up my 3rd kill of the game with mild torpedo beats to boot, and now I get some shots over the island, hopefully at that enemy North Cal that is going just behind. A few of the shells do manage to hit the top of the island, but there we go. I get yet another fire to make that number 10. And now I'm going to continue my turn to starboard, and I'm going to get some shots here at the enemy turrets. And this example right here of where I'm hitting this guy and where I'm shooting him is another perfect example of how you can get the most out of these shells. You see that first salvo hit mostly in the superstructure. The second salvo hit mostly right at the front of the bow with 3 penetrating hits, so 2 very solid salvos right there. More shells flying into that guy, but you can see that the majority of those hit the waterline or the belt armor, and IFHE is going to do absolutely nothing for you right there. So I aim up a little bit higher, and there we go. Another solid damaging salvo right there of about 3,000. However, our friendly carrier manages to get a very nice drop on this guy, and he's going to chunk him down very heavily as I set yet another fire there on the turrets. Shoot a salvo down range at the enemy north cow, and now I'm going for the killing shot here on the turrets, but I don't even need to shoot because he's going to burn down by the time the shells get there. 5K on the north cow as it goes right through his bow and sets another fire. And I've all of a sudden gotten up to 151,000 points of damage, and this guy's going to turn in and try to angle towards me. It really does not matter. He does shoot at me. I do get a little bit cocky right here because I just was like, oh my goodness, I am running a riot through the enemy team, so I'm not going to be angled here very well, and he is going to chunk me rather nicely. I don't take a citadel, but it's still a pretty good chunk, down to about half health at this point. But you can see now, at half health, the reload on the Chapayev is roughly 7 seconds, so of course, all that's going to do is give him more pain and more shells to deal with. This game is wrapping up here rather quickly, though. I'm trying to get a little bit more damage farm before the game ends. More shells flying in on the north cow. I am turning to evade his next salvo. The shells that are going to fall in there, a very nice hit. Pick up the Confederate. 3,200 points of damage done. I'm lucky not to take a citadel right there, but again, I was just feeling so confident in myself. Another 3K hit right here, and the Kutuzov dies, and then some other ship dies, and that is the end of the game. Alrighty guys, taking a look now at the post-battle results. 500k credits received and 8,200 total XP. I pick up Confederate and deal 162,000 points of damage off of 300 shell hits that caused 13 fires. I shot down 10 planes and killed 4 enemy ships, 4 base defense ribbons, and 2 assisted base captures. Taking a look at the team score, 2,738 base XP. A wonderful game and a wonderful ship. Taking a look now at the detailed report, 113,000 damage done with the main battery, and of that, 108 was done with the high explosive, and a further 49,000 done with the fires that I was able to set. And that game didn't even last 11 minutes, so that was a very, very solid DPM score. And lastly, the credits, 348,000 received, and again, 8,200 total EXP. So I hope this video shows you guys just how deadly IFHE can be when you're shooting at the right targets at the right places and putting your shells round after round downrange, and you're going to be able to get some very nice damage totals. There are other better captain skills that you could go with, but if you feel real comfortable in a ship and it's a light cruiser with 6-inch guns and has HE, then hey, give it a try. Download the PTS, give it a try, and see how you like it. With that being said, the Sneaky Snake here for Brothers in Arms World of Warships signing off. Please consider giving the video a like, commenting on it, or possibly subbing to our glorious channel. All of it is very much appreciated. And with that being said, guys and gals, as always, have a great day.